Hello. So this is a little out of the ordinary, but this this is the best book ever written or ever maybe ever illustrated. It's not really. It is a storybook, but it's the art of it that I fell in love with. This is my absolute favorite childhood book. The Woodland Folk in Dragonland by Tony Wolfe. We're going to go through the whole book. This is a little different than the stuff I usually do here. But, man, look at this. It's got this sticker on it, too. $7.95. That's not what I paid for it. This is incredibly hard to get a copy of nowadays. Also, Tony Wolfe has apparently written a whole series. There's just Meet the Woodland Folk. There's the Woodland Folk Meet the Elves. There's the Woodland Folk Meet the Fairies. There's the Woodland Folk Meet the Gnomes. I mean, they just had basically a whole bunch of adventures, and this, one of the very best things, it's got cool art on the back, too. When I was a kid, I used to just kind of fall in love with this art. This book is the entire reason why I like fantasy. I mean, things like this, and like, I grew up with, like, David the Gnome, and, some of the early, even, like, Star Wars and stuff, but this is why I wasn't like a Lord of the Rings kid. I didn't get into that. I watched those like 80s animated Lord of the Rings when I was a kid, and they were like scary. I was terrified of those. And this is not in much better condition than my original book was. My dog had chewed on it, so the spine was tore up here. But it's a Rand McNally book, man. It's got little dents. This has obviously been well loved by someone, and that makes it special. But look at this. This is the map. And this is why things like this. So you've got like all this stuff. It's got a compass rose. You've got I'm just going to kind of go around. I always wondered what the guznags were. I don't think this book explains the guznags. But the tree that the guznags came from, there's a giant dandelion. They have a giant vegetable plot. The Woodland Folk are a bunch of animals. And they meet all these various other people. There's the giant guy, and there's the elves. There's a unicorn egg, but there's no unicorns. Fairyland, where the Fairy Queen's castle is. There's a maze. There's the home of the fairies, who are all like attractive. Well, they're not all like that, because there's like these ladies and stuff too. But yeah, the gnomes village. And then there's Dragonland, on the other side of the Eternal Mountains, with these little dragon families. And this book is mostly about the dragon families. It's a story. It also, on the front cover, has all the different species of dragons, and which are mostly dinosaurs, really. They're not, these folks right here, who are, to be fair, kind of the protagonists of the story, are the only things I would actually classify as dragons. There's this guy who's kind of the bad guy. There's this thing, whose name is Mutt, who's like a dog dragon, who's also like a sips. There's like the caterpillar dragon, the little like cow dragon. There's like all these different forms of like pterosaur. There's like saber-toothed tigers, who apparently somebody drew yellow lines with crayon all over. Yeah, this is like they drew like yellow lines in crayon all over. I was wondering why there was like yellow on everything, but that's like somebody drew on this with crayon. Oh, that's cool. But there's this guy. There's like the elephant. This is kind of, this is not a dinosaur. These are the only things that are actually dragons, and I don't know what any of this says, and I don't know that there's any way to actually translate it. So let's get into it. This is the Woodland Folk in Dragonland. Hello. We, the citizens of Dragonland, never for a moment imagined there was another world besides our own. However, now that we've met the Woodland Folk, a new era has begun. In spite of a bit of trouble at the beginning, we're now good friends. We've learned to accept those little creatures all so much alike. Don't be deceived by our looks, though we may seem fierce and unruly. We're sure you'll like us. The Dragon King. And, yeah. So, this is the Woodland Folk in Dragonland by Tony Wolfe. This is 1983, I believe. It's 1983 by Piero Dami, editor, Italy. Piero Dami. Yeah, man, I am so happy to have this. Dragonland. Dragonland is a prehistoric valley, and its inhabitants are very strange. quarrelsome animals who have been ruled for centuries by the ancient dragons, the Dragosaurs. The valley is surrounded by high mountains. On the other side lies the village of the gnomes. That's where the woodland folk stay too, as well as Redbeard the giant, Pinecone the black fairy, and the three elves, Vinegar, Ginger, and Pepper. For thousands of years, the woodland folk and the Dragonland animals have been practically side by side without ever knowing it. The dragons and other creatures live a fairly quiet life, though fierce and quarrels break out from time to time, as is usual with rowdy folks. This doesn't mean they are wicked, just that they are quick to start a rumpus. Everyone knows, of course, that grown-up dragons are far better tempered than their offspring. Young dragons are absolute pests, always causing trouble or teasing the smaller youngsters. I hope she doesn't catch me or I'm in trouble. She came home early this time, gasped Dragon X as he ran away from Gop's nest, where he'd been trying to steal eggs. Yeah, see, I love that they drew this line of, like, pure beam of pure hate or something. Yeah, somebody's got really like their yellow crayon. But look at this. You get these full-page arts of just, like, this is what's... And you could just look at this for hours and just be like, this is what's going on. See, there's, like, running away there, the big try to find everybody from the front page. Like, Mutt's sleeping there. This guy, he's turning the grindstone because he's got the little carrot. The saber-tooth tiger's looking for mice. This one's helping him grind his tusks up. They're just so, it's just so cool to see what they're doing. We got this one where they're eating. This is a tasty sandwich. Yeah, I love it. I just, see, they're making, like, wine here, or juice. Just juice. And it flows down through there. There's, like, the weird kangaroos, and then these weird little shell turtle guys. This one's like eating, this little bird eating out of the mango or the cantaloupe, like that. In their own way, the Dragonland animals are well organized when it comes... Oh, hang on, I can't read. The Dragonland animals are well organized when it comes to coping with practical things, but they are very primitive, really. They're much too idle to try to improve. Each family in the village has its own particular job in life. Diggers specialize in digging caves with their tough beaks. Hulks are big, strong animals that turn the grindstones or carry heavy loads. Lunch is ready, called the Dragonellas, the wife of the dragons, and everyone else dashed to the table. Hey, here, Mutt, stop trying to eat other people's lunch, exclaimed a dragon. And you, kangaroo, you're surely not going to rinse the fruit in the blueberry juice, are you? I'll twist your ear. When all is said and done, Dragonland folk have a tendency to squabble, but then nobody's perfect. See, he's trying to rinse the fruit in I guess this is blueberry juice, and yeah, Mutt's trying to eat other people's lunch here. Yeah. Chariot race. The Dragon King, ruler of Dragonland, this guy, who's clearly a king because he's got a crown and a little beard, knew his fellow villagers only too well. They're a nice bunch, but a little unruly. I'd better keep them occupied or they'll begin to fight amongst themselves. I'm going to organize a chariot race. It was decided the race would be run over the only racetrack in existence, through the Rocky Mountains. Of course, each competitor tried his hardest to grab the best animal to pull his chariot. It's a deal, then, Hornahors. If we win, we'll split the... Oh, this is the little kids. It's a deal, then, Hornahors. If we win, we split the prize, said the two young dragons, Dragonix and Dragonux. We hatched a plot with some friends, and we're bound to win, they added under their breath. The spectators were going to take part in the race, too, by throwing obstacles in the path of the drivers so that the favorite chariot would have a better chance coming in first. The poor Dragon King kept pleading, for goodness sake, please run a clean race, no dirty tricks, don't tamper with each other, don't make me look like a fool. Remember, the first chariot that passes under Mutt's neck after 3 laps of the track is the winner, and try not to break anything. Remember the last time we had a race, there was so much fighting the village looked like a hospital for a week afterwards. The race was about to start. Great kangaroos, explained one of the drivers, looking worried. Are those little horrors Dragonix and Dragonix running too? I'll eat my tail if they haven't planned some mischief, another exclaimed. The starter raised the flag, and they were off. It was clear from the first lap what the race was going to be like, and by the second lap, every egg in the place had already been hurled at the drivers. In the last lap, the spectators had thrown everything within reach, and heads were now swelling lumps. The young dragons were wild with excitement. Hup, Hornahos, they screamed at their horse. Cut in front of that blockhead Trunkers. And you, take that, squeaked Dragonix, tossing an acorn rock at the driver in front. Tell me, said the Dragon King, who was very old and had very bad eyesight, are they behaving themselves? Well, that's a good race, replied one of the kangaroos. There's nothing quite like good healthy sport. Why, when I was young, on the Dragon King's side, The race continued with swinging clubs and ping of slingshots and general foul play, developing shortly into a brawl. Such things happen only in Dragonland. So here's what's... This is the part I remember the most, but there's a lot of other stuff that happens here. Yeah, they're throwing eggs at these guys. We got, the elephant. This is Hornahors, I guess he's this little horse cow guy. They're throwing stuff. That guy's got lions. He's got one of those. Yeah, so there's kangaroos. What's that big mutt doing? He always spoils things. The finish line had come into sight, and as planned, the young dragon's friends held a fat strawberry, so Mutt, who adores strawberries, so what did he do? Well, as witless as usual, Mutt stretched out his long neck and blocked the racetrack. Hooray! Yelled the dragon, sweeping under Mutt's neck. We won! The dragon king presented the naughty pair with a prize, a stone a garland and a cup. It gives me great pleasure, he said, to present you young lads with a prize. Always behave like gentle swords, and you'll never go wrong. And poor Mutt received a bad thrashing for not staying in place. Poor Mutt. Yeah, man, this art, though. Doesn't this art just get you? Crocodiles. So, yeah. Man, I don't know. I was going to read the whole thing, but man, there's more reading in this that I remember. I just remember the pictures, honestly. But there's a whole story to this. Like, it continues. Let's just look at it. Let's not read the whole thing. Let's just look at it. I can kind of explain what's going on in all these pictures. Yeah, she's just... They can teach the crocodiles to sing. So they go swimming. They tame them. Yeah, and you get these guys throwing rocks at the bigger ones and stuff. Yeah, and they almost get in trouble. And then Franch, the black gnome, comes, and he's going to... Now I will get my revenge. He's going to get revenge on Dragon Sir, who's the father of Dragonix and Dragonux. Yeah. And he traps him in a tree while he's trying to get these coconuts and puts a saddle on him. And there's the black crayon is back. Dragons breathe yellow smoke, apparently. And then he puts him on this wheel. Who is your master? Answer me. Here's the bad guy, though. And then he uses the dragon. So he's only getting the dragon so he can get revenge on this giant. So he has him. He takes him across the field. He takes him to attack the giant. Yeah. And burn down the fairy village. He's like the bad guy. And then he does this. All the gnomes between ages of 600 and 800 must appear barefoot and hatless in the village and square to hear my wishes and pay me homage. Crocus must come in his nightgown to hear my decree. Signed, Franch the Black Gnome. Yeah. But they have a new plan. They come up with a plan to get these caterpillars to go down to where he's got the dragon. Oh, there is a unicorn. It's actually an alicorn. Look at that. She's got wings even. They drop all the caterpillars down to where he's sleeping on this ledge with the dragon. And they eat holes in the dragon's wings so he can't fly. We should have stayed at home, even if Dragobel did beat me, was the aching dragon's thought. He was more scared of his wife than he was of everything else. And then they get taken prisoner by the gnomes, who are mad, and then his family comes to find him. I like this right here. I guess his ass kicked, literally. He was the bad guy. That's the whole point. When they free him, and they scold him. Here, it's a long way home. You two don't dally behind. The gnomes will soon give the alarm. But the little one, one of them got fire-breathing abilities and then got trapped. It works. This is real volcano moss. What flames? And the gnomes captured him. This is the picture from the back where he's using the dragon to make tools to do blacksmithing. And the elves have got their trap set up for the dragons to come that are going to come save them. And now they have a big Crocus, the leader of the gnomes, who's also a magician. We're not afraid of you just because you're bigger than us, said the magician gnome. And the Dragon King. So they make this whole contest that they're going to do this. Oh no, they go to war first. I forgot that they actually go to war. This was one of my favorite parts. It shows everybody's army preparations, how the gnomes' army prepared for battle. So let's go through this now. We've got the cork gunners being drilled, which is up here. They've got cork gunners. They've got the little guy with the drums. They've got a firing range here. They've got dragon targets. They've got the field hospital run by Crocus, or run by the Shamrock nurses. Excuse me, Crocus is the main guy. And there's the black fairy there. Soap for giant bubbles for air reconnaissance. They've got these little frogs. Cool doing that. Hoisting the flag at headquarters is right here in the middle. Chestnut cannon and corncob bomb fire gunners. Look at they freaking Gatling guns. I mean, they are gnomes. They invent things. And skunk's milk supply for duck patrols. That things that reading old books makes you say. Why do the skunks have milk? Don't think too much about it. And then in the next page we get the dragon. We get this whole picture of their armies. Do we have the dragon army preparing for battle? No, we just have the gnome. This was another one of my favorite parts of this. All their stuff. This is the gnomes' army. They have their standard bearer, cork gunners, field marshal, and then he's the general. They have the scout and the messenger, the high command strategists, commando unit. Look at those boys. Look at them. You got the oarsman and scuba diver. It says plural, but there's clearly only one. You've got the Zawali. There's a bunch of them under there. Kamikaze bees. Yeah, I don't know about that. The giant-sized infantryman. I always thought it was like unfair because the gnomes literally have a giant on their side and all this other stuff. The demolition squad. The Shamrock nurses. I like this guy too. Look at him. Look at him in his 1,000-yard stare. He's the corncob firebomber. He does his best. We have air reconnaissance, man. This yellow crayon's a little disappointing, man. My version didn't have this. Like, they drew fire, and then he's on fire too, which is kind of funny. When the gong sounds, the enemy looks up. Then the gnome opens the onion juice tank. Is it onion juice or is it skunk's milk? The bugler, the armored car with pepper spray, is powered by a badger. And then you got the acorn machine gun. Oh, there's the skunk's milk sprays. Okay, so this is onion juice. It's different. That's skunk milk. They have, like, frickin' a machine gun, Gatling gun. So what do the dragons have? I kind of showed it earlier. The dragons build a siege tower. Oh, wait, no, this is also the gnomes. The next thing is the dragons. I think they're in the battle section. Yeah, this is the 2 arms, and then the battle is the dragon section. So the gnomes also have this siege tower. Look at this thing. Look at how crazy this is. They've got a whole cannon in there. Oh, that was like something on the page there. That's too bad. Yeah, it's not. It's only on that one page. Oh, we're going to get to that. They've got a big fist on there. I always thought this thing was so cool. And he's got like somebody drew the extra bit of resin being poured out. Some little kid really loved this book, and that's cool. So here's the Dragonland army got ready for war. Dragons during sumo training. These are the sumosaurs. You got the squirter patrol doing long-range exercises. I love that he's using that cat. They're all like the chunky boys. Long-range catapult ramp. Here, they're shooting those guys in the catapult. The catapult for launching spies behind enemy lines. Yep, so it's the same thing, right? It's just kind of weird that they have two for the same. Then they have a separate catapult for watermelons. They're primitive stuff. I love it. It's not as advanced as the gnomes, but they're big and strong, right? They got mutt used for an armored troop truck. And then they've got the armored troops being trained, which are those guys. And this is their army. They've got a giant turtle shield and club. They've got a war horn. There's the general. He's the king. They've got infantry transports. Yeah, they've got the battering ram. I don't know what they need that for. I guess to ram into the siege tower or something. And they've got armored troops. They're not... Yeah. Here's more. They have the long-range catapult, who's just a guy with a slingshot. The fast squirter patrol. The watermelon catapult. The coconut bomber. The coconut dive bomber. Official flamethrower, the official one. I mean, don't get me wrong, coconut dive bomber is still better than, it's still much better than this. Mobile cage for fighter crocodiles. Yeah, they got the crocodiles. The demolition and drilling squad. I don't know why they have all these, like, demolition squads and, like, things, because they're not, like, sieging a castle, right? The fast tank. And the super fast tank. I never really understood what the difference was between the fast tank and the super fast tank. Are these guys just faster than these guys? And this is the two-ended tank with wheel blades. Look at that. This is cool stuff, man. They did cool stuff. And then they end up not fighting a war anyway. And then there's yes. And they end up doing a tug of war instead. They decide to settle it with a tug of war. I forget where they decide to do that. I think it's because they're all too old. Like the leaders are too old and decide not to do it. So these guys, yeah, they've got the giant though. This still feels, but at least these guys have mutt. So I mean, they're kind of like equivalent. Heave away, Woodland troops. Heave away, Dragonland folks. Yeah, they're all pulling their best here. They've got, I guess, I always trying to wonder what the yellow is being used for here, right? I mean, I guess the dragons are more of them and bigger and stronger. And then, in order to, like, no one to win, Pinecone the Black Fairy cheats, and she shoots this beam of yellow crayon down through the page and breaks the rope so that no one wins. Or wait. And then the Fairy Queen, like, scolds her, but... And then that guy and the family, the little dragon, get in trouble because he caused all the problems. And then everybody just has a big feast, and they're all happy, and they're all friends, and it goes through this whole, like, they're all hanging out, having their feast. The giant can shrink down to, like, a small size. I think they even say that in here at some point. He has, like, the power to do that, apparently. Even Mutt gets to eat something. They all get drunk. Is this really the end? Now, at this point, you might think that's our story's come to an end, but with woodland folk, gnomes, giants, fairies, and elves and dragons, you never can tell. And I don't know if this is the last one Tony Wolff ever wrote or not. But man, this is a gem and a half. I love this book. I dearly love this book. Thank you for coming along with me and entertaining me. I'm going to fully read it. I'm going to sit down and, like, read it for myself and just enjoy it, because it is... It's something I'm so glad to have back in my collection of stuff, because it is so important to me in my childhood, and who I am comes from this. I love those stories about angels, unicorns, and elves now. Anyway, we'll see you next time.